Beautiful in and out. Someone who is smart, who is intelligent. So I want like the total package.
The No Ordinary Love Podcast with Rosalind Onell. Every relationship is unique and has its own rhythm and melody. And what worked for them may not necessarily work for you. Oh my goodness. Today we have Goody and Tezama Howard with us. So excited to have them. What made me want to speak with both of you is last year I worked with Goody on a private writing class, and that sounds all kinds of interesting, but
it's a separate podcast. Yes, it's a whole separate interview.
Yes. And the way she spoke about Tezama, I was like, damn, people have love like this out there. So
let me tell him I be talking about him.
She be talking about you. all the good stuff. So I just wanted to see what I could learn, and my listeners could learn as well about the kind of partnership that you have, because like partnership was a word that you kept using in describing the kind of love that you guys share. But before we dive into the relationship, I'm going to start with you, Tezama. How are you doing today, first of all? How's your day been?
Doing great. Can't complain.
Excellent. I want to know a little bit about who were you as a person before you met Goody? Like, where were you at that point in your life? Kind of like a little bit about your background.
Big music guy. Music is our love language. Yeah, well, I got my watch on, but we got matching tattoos.
Ooh, wow.
Because music is life. Music is love. We met on Twitter when Twitter was really, really big, when it was the thing, and it was new. So there was a Dallas Twitter with all of the
cool kids,
socialites, things of that nature. And I find myself a very funny / comical person. Some people thought she was funny as well. I have no idea why. Her cachet has gone up since being with me in the mind meld that she gets to get these jokes off that most of the time come from me anyway. But
you trying to Cat Williams me and say I be stealing your joke?
Whoa. This is not your time. Thank you, baby. So, it's a place called the Prophet Bar. Erykah Badu's band, our child's godfather, J Clip, DJ there every Wednesday night. Cool place to hang out during the middle of the week. You know, you don't have the super young crowd because they don't know that going out during the week is professionals. Weekends are for suckers. So
leftovers.
So we all decided to go hang out. She thought that I was a girl because I was kind and caring, and I cared about where she parked, and
that's not why come out and meet her. I thought you was a girl because you had titties in your avatar. You know, on Twitter, you know, you get the picture. His profile picture was titties, so I thought he was a girl.
Ooh, okay. Like,
I thought he made me a new homegirl. I did not know he was a man.
Oh, so that means y'all had been chatting on Twitter.
Like, you know, cracking jokes and stuff and all of that. Like, nothing really DMs or whatever. But I was like, who going to the Prophet Bar? And he was like, I'm going. And so then he DM'd me, like, call me when you get there. I'll come out, you know, and walk you in. Shit girls do.
Yes.
Like a gentleman. Like a gentleman would do.
Also.
So, when I called her, she looked at the phone like, I thought you were a girl. I'm like, nah. And then we hung out with all our friends. And then we pretty much.
And you can tell about Cool Breeze cock blocking you.
Well, that doesn't have nothing to do with this.
It does.
Okay.
There's a young lady.
Okay.
Who liked both of us.
Okay.
Separately. We went out on maybe like 2 dates. And then she saw us together.
Oh.
Asked the question. And Goody was like, yeah, you know, it's our first time hanging out. And she just went down the whole list of giving unsolicited information, thinking that it would stop what we were doing. And it did not, unfortunately, for her.
Yeah. So she was trying to
long story.
Get in the middle of both of y'all.
Yes.
Okay.
But long story short, from that day.
Yeah, we've been kicking it ever since.
Oh, wow. How long ago was that?
11 years.
Wow.
No, it was 12 years ago.
Well, 12 years ago.
It was June 2011. I don't know what. It was a Wednesday in June. Because I only did Prophet Bar on Wednesdays. It was a Wednesday in June 2011. We got married New Year's Eve 2012.
Okay. Wow. So is there any fact checking you need to do, Goody, on that story?
No, that's accurate.
That's accurate. Okay.
That's accurate. He says that we met way before that, but I don't remember, but he does, and he says I was flirting with him. I was not.
She always trying to have one up on your boy. She definitely.
I was not flirting with you. I was hostessing. It's HIV event for Black AIDS Awareness Day, and it was a spoken word thing, right? And so he got invited by another one of our friends. I had never seen him before, but he was there by himself. So I'm walking around, greeting because it's my event. And I was like, hey, you sitting back here by yourself? Come sit to the front. We get ready to start, blah, blah, blah. He says I was flirting with him. People think I flirt all the time because I make eye contact and you know what I'm saying? I was not flirting with him. I had to look at the sign-in sheet to even see he was there because I didn't remember. But he says that, I was gunning for your boy. You know what I'm saying? But that's not the case. And that was the February before. That was February 2011.
I feel like you get premonitions in life. Like when something's meant for you, it kind of starts, showing up a little bit here, a little bit there in your life. So that was like the pregame to the main course. So how would you say, Goody, like, what was it about him in particular? Because clearly you had interest from other people that made you think that this is going to be the one that you share your life with.
When we started like hanging out and stuff, and I was like, look, I like you. I'm seeing other people. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, I ain't worried about that shit. I'm worried about this shit. And he's the only one that was not worried about what nobody else did, where nobody else took me, what nobody else got me. None of that stuff. If he wanted to hang out and I was busy, he'd be like, okay, what about this day? Like he wasn't tripping about any of that. His confidence made space for me to be who I am. And it's rare that you have genuine confidence from people. You have confidence, but it's rooted in the wrong things. And so it's easily shaken. And he doesn't have that. He's not tripping about none of that. And I think we complement each other well in that way. But like we don't have the typical what people envision monogamy to be. Like it has to be like I can't have no friends that are men, he can't have no friends that are women, and da-da-da. Like that's not our lives because we're confident enough in ourselves and what we have together to not be worried about none of that shit.
I know a little bit about you, but maybe my audience doesn't know a little bit about you. So how would you describe your, like you kind of described your relationship as monogamous? Is that how you would describe your relationship? Like what would you?
Like we not fucking other people. Like, we're mutually monogamous. Like, you're not fucking nobody else, right? No? Okay.
This week.
Not this week? Okay, me either.
Okay. No, that's good to know. I was just curious. Because you also mentioned confidence, so yeah.
Yeah, no, because, like, we have attractive friends. Like, who wants to be around a bunch of ugly people? So people say, they say, oh, we even have a friend that we call our wife because she was his friend separately and my friend separately. And we call her our wife.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not, and we know we're not fucking her. It's a, tongue in cheek kind of thing. But I think that the golden handcuffs of monogamy is weird. And so, no, we're not like sleeping with other people. But I also don't have this knee-jerk reaction if he going out for drinks with maybe one of his grammar school homegirls is in town or somebody he went to college with. I don't have a knee-jerk reaction of it's not a thing. You know what I'm saying? And so when I say monogamy, we are monogamous, but I like to consider us relationship anarchists in the sense because our confidence and our connection helps us build a bridge over all that other bullshit. And I think a lot of times monogamy gets a bad rap because it shows up as this jealous ownership. Love is not ownership. And love is not enough. I tell people all the time, for me specifically, I don't know about him, but me specifically, I tell my friends I love them. I tell my kids I love them. I don't tell him I love you a lot. I tell him I like him. Because I think that's more important to me. I need to be able to like you. You know what I'm saying? I respect him, I trust him, and I feel safe with him.
Okay.
I have loved people I didn't trust.
Yeah.
I've loved people I didn't feel safe with. I've loved people that I didn't respect. But I can't respect you or trust you or love you. I mean, or feel safe with you without loving you. And so to me, love isn't big enough for what we got going on. So I don't like that word in the romantic context. I think it's like red roses.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody got that.
You said so many things that are so juicy. So I'm going to track back a little bit. Where does that confidence come from for you, Tezama? If I didn't mess up your name.
Tezama.
Where does that confidence?
So in your mind, just go TAHZAMA.
Yes. Tezama. And I wrote it down. Tezama. Okay.
So Tezama. Yeah. And then when you do that, when you look at it, you won't ever do it again. Like I said, it's
I want to get it right. I want to get it right.
No.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it, but I'm just saying it's not.
Yeah. It's not hard.
No, I'm not saying it's not hard. It's hard to switch your mind out from what you've been taught.
Yes.
I don't know how old you are, but the 4th grade was a long time ago.
Yeah, it's a long,
and that's when they
long time.
And that's when they broke it down for us. So you've been doing that your entire life. That way.
Yes.
So I don't want you to feel bad about it because you didn't say it correctly. You just have to fix your mind about it. And I apologize, I went off topic. What was the question that you asked me?
I don't remember now. So where does that confidence come from for you, that you're able to bring it into your relationship, that you don't feel a sense of ownership? How are you so confident in your life? Because I think that what Goody's alluding to is so important. So many people feel like they own their partners. And as a result, you can't have any female friends. You can't have they have all these rules around what their relationship, their partner's interaction should be like. So I'm just curious where that confidence comes from for you, that you were okay with her being who she is.
To be totally honest, I treat her the way that I want to be treated as far as my friendships are concerned. In previous relationships, I've had women accuse me of liking my god sister. We've been friends since we were 4 years old. We live 2 doors down from each other. If I ever wanted to date her, I could have tried to date her. Not saying that she would like me, but I'm saying if I ever wanted to, if I ever liked her, it would have happened by now. It wouldn't wait till I'm 50 or 35 or 40 to be like, oh, you know what? Tracy's really pretty. And she did it, so I should like her. No, I liked her as a person. She's been my people, and I have female friends who we have just been friends. And I view women as people first, and I think that's the reason why. Because when you talk to other guys, they'll say, oh yeah, I got female friends, but if she ever came at me and was trying to do something, I don't know what happened. I do. I'll tell her to get the fuck out of my face. I don't like you like that. You need to find somebody else. I understand that I'm handsome. Thank you so much. But I don't like you like that. So sorry.
Yeah.
She has male friends who are just her friends, who show up for us as a couple, show up for her.
He has inherited so many of my male friends, and I haven't inherited a lot of his female friends. And it wasn't like a criteria for us to be friends for them to inherit. They be telling him happy birthday and shit. I'd be like, what? Like texting him, like they got each other's phone numbers and stuff. Like it's not. There's a level of transparency, but also I'm a boy mom.
Yeah,
my son is 20, and I raised him to treat girls like people. And I said, girls are just people. So since he was like 7 years old, he's like, he really liked this little girl, and he was like, Mom, I like her so much, I get so nervous. I said, but don't get nervous. She's just a person.
Yeah,
girls are just people, and he treats girls like people. So I know that. I have homeboys that are just my homeboys. So I know that it's possible. And I think that now I think that men and women can be friends. I don't think men and women can be best friends. Because there's a level of intimacy there in the best of it all. If you have a partner, your best friend should look like you. I don't think, and I can't say, people say, oh, he's my best friend, and I do think Tezama is my best friend. However, I have other best friends. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Your partner can't be everything. That's where people get it fucked up at. If you try to make your partner everything, that's not fair to that person. That's not fair to you. That's not fair to them. If he's trying to make me everything, I can't handle that. That's too much.
Yeah, that puts way too much pressure for one person to be your all and everything.
Yeah,
may
it's
be
too
a
much.
core but they're not your all. You have to
if I lined up all my people on the planet of the human beings I fuck with, he is definitely the first one in line.
Yes, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm not, it's unrealistic. But I think when men and women, or not even men and women, because that's ridiculous. People that are attracted to each other, because that's very heteronormative.
Exactly.
To say it that way. So if you're sexually attracted to your best friend, then that turns into from a best friendship to a break glass in case of emergency ship.
Exactly.
And it's a slippery slope, you know.
I think the subtext of what both of you have spoken about that is really interesting to me is you've talked about boundary setting for yourself as individuals, meaning you put yourself, what I'm hearing you say is you put yourself on a leash of some sort and or
I don't like that. Well, I mean, I do like a leash every now and then, but
in the bedroom. But
yeah, that's limiting language in my mind. And words, words mean things. Language is alive. I think that when you move in the respect for yourself and respect for your relationship and respect for your partner, then you don't have to worry about. I don't have to worry about what he's doing when he's not in my presence. I don't think he out here embarrassing me. You know what I'm saying? He know I'm not out here, and it's unique in the sense because of what I do for a living.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. As that has been a barrier in the past with other relationships. I've had partners that only wanted me to deal with women clients. I've had partners that, only wanted me to do certain things. And if I ventured into trying to teach a class in person, they wasn't with it. Or, oh yeah, your internet, your social media is doing too much. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like me being a sex educator, me being a sexologist, people make assumptions about who I am and what I am and what I do and how I move and what's okay. And so people make a lot of assumptions in that way, and he doesn't. And he knows that he trusts me. So if he trusts me, then that trust extends to me when I'm in his face, me when I'm not in his face, me when I'm at work, me when I'm in my car. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so that's just the nature of what it is. If you can't trust me, then you don't need to be with me.
No, absolutely. That trust, first of all, for self, and then trust for each other is what allows you to use the word like earlier, safe and comfortable, especially with what it is that you do for a living and for your work.
He passes out my cards more than I do.
He's Mr. Goody.
He be on Instagram, on podcasts. People, you need Goody on your podcast. She is sexologist. Like, he be doing that. He used to manage hip rappers in a former life. And so he low-key manages me sometimes. And he be like, oh, you need to do this and you need to do that. Like,
well, it's hard, right? Like, even though I say, oh, this is what my wife does, when a man steps into the space and talks about sex or sex toys or the classes that she has, even from an education standpoint, as soon as they hear sex, it's like, so then they're looking at me kind of weird, like, why are you talking about sex toys? Like, well, it's my wife. And it's still
business.
Still business. Yeah, this is widgets and
it is inventory
and Wixie woos. It's paper towels.
Right. Yeah.
I don't look at it like that. But sometimes people kind of look at me weird when I try to introduce it because I'm a guy. And whether I'm talking to another guy, because guys are like, whoa, why are you talking to me about? I don't want to talk about that. Or if I'm talking to a woman, she thinks that I'm trying to come on to her and now I'm creepy. And they're like, no. Here's my wife's card. This is what my wife does.
Yeah, because I definitely have male friends that call me on three-way with their new boo to talk about the sex toys, and then they want to look like, so then they order for their new chick. For me. I definitely have my friends that do that. Yeah. So,
yeah, absolutely. It's like
it actually just happened the other day. So,
your life is so interesting to me. It's like,
it is. It really is interesting, even outside of what I do for a living. It's hella interesting in this house. Yeah, just in general. But
what are some of the, like, what would you say is like a challenge that you've had in your relationship that you guys have kind of had to overcome over the years, as you guys have been together for so many years?
What would you say, Tezama?
What is that kind? Let me even add a bit more color. Like, I feel like every relationship has a huge thing that they have to overcome in order to get to that next deeper level. So that's what I would love to know.
What would you say it is, Tezama? I have an answer, but I want you to.
Definitely outside influences is what I would say would be
That's a very diplomatic way to put that.
Between her and I, we don't really have too many challenges. 80% of the time, if there's a disagreement or someone feels a way, they're able to express that without being hurtful to the other person, get their point across, and then we try to make adjustments. But the biggest hurdle in starting our relationship was my ex-wife. She was very adamant about us not being together. And then another hurdle would be blending the families together. Past trauma, history, education, or lack thereof has been a conduit for anxiety between the both of us together and separately.
Oh, wow. So we're going to unpack step by step. We're going to go through the roster.
So I think with me and him, it's usually us against everybody else. It's never me against him. It might be, oh, you know what? You hurt my feelings when you said that the other day, or the way you said that. Because I'm the one with the way you said that. And sometimes I be saying shit, and I mean what the fuck I said.
I said what I said.
I apologize for how I said it. I apologize for how I said it, but I meant that shit. Like, I've gotten better with that. I will say that. You think I've gotten better with my slickness of my mouth? I mean, sometimes, I feel like I've gotten...
2024.
It's new year, new me.
Still early.
But because I get emotional and I let it sit until I just can't. Instead of saying something right then. And so then it kind of comes out maybe a little sharper than it should. But when we first got together, him and his ex-wife were still living together.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah. And they were, divorced or whatever, but they all lived in the same house. He was sleeping on the couch. She had a room. The kids had a room. And I wasn't tripping about that because you don't want your kids to be homeless. You know what I'm saying? And I was seeing other people. So even if they were still fucking, it didn't matter to me. But she just really was difficult. She thought she was getting her family back. He didn't really communicate with her in a way that I felt like made her clear that she wasn't getting her family back. And so there was a lot of drama around that and the way he communicated with them about what was going on with me and him. And then the blending of the families, because of how he communicated with them, they weren't expecting me. Like, they didn't know we were getting married. And then they found out we were getting married on Twitter like everybody else. Like, we didn't go, like, we would arrive at events together and walk around and leave together and everything. But if you knew, you knew. It wasn't a secret. It just wasn't, that's not who we are as people, right? Yeah. And
you didn't soft launch the relationship.
No, at all. At all. I didn't soft launch shit. Let me tell you something. If we went out, I take a picture with him. I take a picture with you. I take a picture with y'all. I'm posting all the pictures. You don't know who I was there with.
Exactly.
Because again, I was still dating other people. I don't need these kind of questions. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Don't do that. So until I was sure. Yeah. That's how people get embarrassed. You soft launch shit and they fall apart. So once we, the communication, they found out when the rest of the world found out, which was a challenge. Yeah. And we overcame that challenge. Like, we, and even as a blended family, like, his kids love me. They fuck with me. One of them live here, and his ex-wife and I got along for a time until recently, but we got along really well. Like, she bought me Mother's Day gifts and her mama made me vegan dressing on Christmas. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got along really, really well. I think when it comes to when you are of a certain level of maturity and you're dealing with other people that are not at that level of maturity or don't even have the capacity and self-awareness to ascend to that level of maturity and understanding, you're going to have friction. There's going to be beef because there's going to be jealousy. There's going to be competition. There's going to be all kinds of shit that doesn't even need to exist. And so that's really what I feel like the challenges when it comes to my stepwife is. Just the level of self-awareness and maturity that everyone involved doesn't possess. No shade to her. It's great for her life, but it don't work over here. Yeah. And then the blending of the families. Our kids get along great. Everybody gets along great. He has a son and a daughter, and I have a son, and then we have a daughter. But it's not it was bumpy initially as any, trying to figure it out because our parenting styles are very different. And so they come over here like, what? You got what? I gotta follow directions. I can't talk back. I got to do what the hell you said the first time. Like, you know, like things like that.
So with his ex-wife, who did you have to become, Tezama? Who did you have to become to shift the dynamic that you had initially? Especially, you weren't in a position to share with her that you really had moved on.
Just really being more thoughtful and really more caring about me, even if that sounds kind of weird, because what I was doing the entire time that we were not together was caring about her, not thinking, oh well, my new lady will take me and my kids. I'm thinking, oh well, I'm about to be single, but I need to make sure that my kids are okay. And she was never successful in maintaining herself by herself. If you ever watched Everybody Hates Chris, the mom on the show was my ex-wife.
She's like, I don't need this. My husband got 3 jobs and we'll be out of there. But having that, not having that independence, right? Not having that self-reliance. The way he communicated with her was not, oh, you need to get a job. You need to find a job. And because you got, you know, we get married at the end of the month and you know what I'm saying? It was never that kind of conversation. He didn't, and if he brought up anything, they would shut down. And so he took them shutting down as, oh, the conversation is over. Not they're shutting down, but we still need to finish this conversation.
Our initial plan is, hey, you and I are not together anymore. I'm going to continue to do what I've been doing for the next 6 months. You need to get a job. Give me 3 months to save up money so I can move, so you can stay here in the condo or whatever that I got for you and the kids, but you'll be able to maintain it. We agreed upon that. As 2 adults. Yes. Now, whether you made moves to do those things or not was not my fault. But then I still fell back on, oh my God, my kids are going to be out in the cold. Da-da-da-da. This wonderful woman, this one, you see her face?
Yes.
She said,
gorgeous.
She said, let's use the tax money, get her an apartment, pay it up for 6 months so that we don't have to worry about her being homeless. Oh, and you can still pay her child support to make sure that she's okay so she can pay her bills and things while she gets herself together.
I ain't say it as nice as that. I appreciate you softening my delivery.
There's now maturity.
Because what had happened was,
yes,
like I said, they found out we got married like everybody else. I didn't know that. She was not. She couldn't maintain the apartment they were in by themselves. I said, well, you didn't prepare her for success. That's my goal for anything. You didn't prepare her for success. So this is a joint effort. This was a group effort. She fucked up. You fucked up. Since y'all fucked up, now we got to take the tax return, get her an apartment. We had a 6 months lease. Paid the lease for 6 months. So she didn't have to worry about any of that. Then I was like, okay, you give her, you know, a lot of the amount that'll cover her light bill, her phone bill, and all groceries and stuff, so she can look for a job without stress. And that's what it looked like. And she still, at that point, was not fucking with me. She still was not. And he was like, she can go to her mama's house. But she was not fucking with me. And it just, she finally started to warm up after we had our first miscarriage, which was a weird time in and of itself. But after we had our first miscarriage, she was just like, oh, I heard, you know, honestly, I thought you were pregnant when y'all got married and that's why y'all got married. No, ma'am.
Well, sorry to hear about the miscarriage.
Yeah. No, but it smoothed out and you know, and so it worked out. And
what gave you the grace to to do something that would actually work to help her stabilize? Like, why would you do that in this situation?
I'm a parent. First and foremost, I am a parent, and I know what it's like to have to deal with those things and by yourself and I, you know, a single parent and all those things. And so I know what it's like after divorce to kind of recalibrate, because I was a divorced single parent at 24 years old.
Wow.
I know what it's like to have to start over. And I'm a parent first and foremost. I don't care about what me and her got going on. It's not them kids' fault. And so to me, that was the priority. And I feel like, you looking back, I don't want to be on the wrong side of history. What would I want if I was in this position? What would be? I try to be fair. Whether people are fair or not is not my concern. If heaven is real, I'll be there. If when I'm gone, I think people miss. I wake up every day and I think, okay, if I died yesterday, that's what my life insurance lady said. She said yesterday. So if I died yesterday, what would people be saying about me? What would people be telling my children about me? I want people to tell the truth. Yes, I was a damn fool. I cussed a lot. I talked to people crazy sometimes, but I was kind. I'm not nice, but I'm kind. And I was just like, what is the fair thing to do right now? Because it wasn't like he was telling her, gave her timelines and dates, and she just didn't prepare. She didn't have all the information she needed, even if she would have made the same choice. She didn't have all the information she needed. And so in that point, we had then liability, and that means we had a responsibility.
So there were two things.
To me, that's what
there were two things going on at the same time. There was the tension and like making sure that she's now set up for success. But I also hear like there is tension within both of you for him not being.
Oh yeah.
How did you handle that part?
I was livid. When I say livid, like I was thinking about if I wanted to stay married or not. Because I'm a daddy's girl. My daddy just passed away 3 years ago. If he had I was grown as hell when we got married. If my daddy had got married and I found out on the internet, smoke in the motherfucking city. Do you hear me?
Yes.
And I can't imagine doing my kids like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it was a challenge for me because parenting is a big deal. And if I can't respect you as a parent, there's what else do we have? You know what I'm saying? The sex can be great, the communication can be great, but if I can't respect you as a parent.
And you didn't feel like you were building someone, building your partner, because shouldn't he have been responsible?
No, because he had the knowledge and the forethought, but he was so busy thinking about her feelings. He wasn't centering himself. I don't think that I was building anybody. I think that when someone is exposed to a different perspective, they get right or get left. When we got together, I was a single parent at the time. And so I'm like, oh, I got to do something with my son that day. Or we got to do this. I got to do this with my son. I got to do this. And so he started to then show up for his kids differently because he saw everything I was doing with my one by myself. And it's or the way we communicate. He sees how I communicate with him. So he started to communicate similarly. It's not building if it's somebody was never exposed to this. They've never met anybody that communicates this way, or they've never been exposed to this perspective in this way. So it wasn't me trying to say, now this is what you need to do. This is what we have to do. He would see it and get in line and become, and like, sort of shift toward that. And so I don't think it was a building. I think it was exposure. I think it was because some people you have to be receptive. Now, what happened with the apartment and all that shit, that he was on board. He was like, yeah, you're right. You're right. There's an accountability there. And I think that we both hold each other to a standard of accountability that the rest of the world doesn't hold us to. And he knows that I'm not trying to come at him and say nothing fly or emasculate him or disrespect him or undermine him. And it ain't going to be no guessing. I'm going to come and we're going to have a conversation about it. But I don't think that's a great question, but I don't think it's really building as much as it is like coming into contact with and exposure and sort of saying, oh, you know what? I see that makes sense to me. The way I was doing it or the way I thought about it previously didn't make sense. This makes more sense. Like, if you have a conversation with somebody and they say something and it rings with you. I was talking to my homeboy and he said something about, we was talking about my driver's license. And he said, man, you got a lot of information, but you ain't got no solutions.
Like,
so now, like that shit, I was like, oh shit. You know what I'm saying? So it shifted how I think about some things. And so I don't think it was building necessarily, but I do feel like it was maybe exposure.
Yeah.
Maybe proximity.
Just a different perspective. And then in that particular situation of feeling trapped, not by the kids, but by I can't move how I need to move because said person isn't doing what they need to do. And then this was a cycle.
Yeah.
She would work for a little while every couple of years, and then when I thought it was going to be better, as soon as I let my guard down, it would fall all to pieces again. So I'm working anywhere from 10 to 12 hours a day, still trying to help the kids with their homework, still going out 3 times a week with my groups, trying to get them placements, doing shows, things of that nature, traveling back and forth wherever we're going for shows, and still trying to maintain the house. When it just got to a point, I was just like, juggle, bye.
Yeah.
And she was like, no, that's not what we're doing. You can do this because A, B, and C. Okay, let's try that.
Yeah.
And then it started working. And
I'm solution oriented. And so we have a conversation and okay, now what we're doing about it. And like when in his previous marriage, he was the hustler in the street trying to make it happen. And she was at home doing whatever the fuck she was doing.
Yeah. No, I asked that question intentionally because there's always this conversation or expectation that people show up perfectly. And I think that's a huge fallacy. You have to shift in your relationship, and each partner
into fitting in what person into fitting into what person that person needs. So it's not like this. Yeah. It's like the fingers intertwining. It's like the cogs that turn each other. Yeah. So like with him and me, I'm more in the streets and hustling and because I'm self-employed. So he's the one that's holding it down. Yeah. And so he gets to have a different role in this dynamic than he did in the one he was in. So he has a different appreciation for me as the hustler. Yeah. Because he was the hustler, so he has a better understanding of what I need. And I tell people this all the time. We had practice marriages.
Yes.
I do think that the second time around for a lot of people is better if you learned. If you learn what you were supposed to learn in your first marriage, and you carry that into who you are and how you show up in your life and in your relationships, then your second marriage would be better because you're choosing differently for different reasons, and you're choosing for who you are now because the first marriage, usually you chose young. The child you chose that dynamic for whatever reason. And you didn't necessarily grow in the same ways. He and I chose differently. I wasn't trying to get married at all.
You were living your best life is what I heard.
I was living my best life. I was not trying to get married. And we were out somewhere. We were at a video shoot for one of his artists, and I was there, and I popped up, gave him a kiss, and went and go do what I was going to do. And one of the artists was like, "Is that your wife?" And he was like, "Not yet." And everybody looked at me. I didn't hear what he said. I was like, "What the fuck y'all looking at me for?" And then we were at church because my grandmother was playing the bells, and my dad was singing in the choir because that's really the only time you're going to catch us at church. And we were there, and someone said, "Is that your wife?" And he was like, "Not yet." And I heard him that time. And I was like, "The fuck?" And my dad heard him. He was like, "Really?" And so they kind of started the conversation of what that would look like. And I wasn't terrified of it. It didn't, make me want to vomit. Okay. So,
like a couple of questions, so it's funny, me and my girlfriends were having lunch and we looked up the statistic of second marriages. The failure rate for second marriages is 67% as opposed to first marriages, which is almost 50. So second marriages fail so much more, and then third is like 70 something. So
really,
yes.
I would think it would be lower, but you know what? I think that's the my ex-husband's been married 3 times.
Has he done his work?
And he's single now because he didn't do his work. He didn't learn what he was supposed to learn. He is never the problem. And so not taking accountability, I think a lack of accountability is rampant in this country or on this planet. And so if you don't take accountability and you don't learn the lessons you were supposed to learn from the first marriage, you're going to carry him into the second marriage and make the same mistake. And it's going to take half the time to realize it was a mistake. And then you're going to do it again. So I think people that learn their lessons, everyone I know that's on marriage number 2, that has done their work is happy. I think there are a lot of things that people don't take into consideration for a first marriage that they should, like people that have big ass weddings that can't afford them. I think weddings are for rich people. people that have big ass weddings typically, in my experience, in my lived experience, and statistically, end up not being married as long, because they start off in debt, and that's stressful.
Yeah.
You know, that's stressful to a relationship. People that have children together before they get married are statistically less likely to stay married. And that's, I don't know what that is. Maybe because they feel like marriage is going to change something in their dynamic, and it doesn't. But when you have children before you get married, it's like you're doing everything else. And maybe you think marriage is going to be like this magic fix for the challenges that you're having, and it's not. And then you're like, well, fuck it, it didn't work. But I'm surprised at that second marriage statistic. I would think it would be a lower percentage.
Yeah, like 38, 40%.
Yeah. It's not big, not a big less, but less.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Again, people not doing their work and they're not being honest with themselves. Motherfuckers will lie to themselves. And the thing about this is, because Black women are smart. And a byproduct of being smart is that you can rationalize any bad decision.
100%.
So I think
my first marriage, the lesson from my first marriage for me, the lessons, one, I didn't know myself. I was 19. What was I doing even trying to be in a relationship? So I'm just curious, for you, what did your first marriage teach you that makes this so much better for both of you?
Tezama, what did your first marriage teach you?
Clear and open communication will save you a lot of trauma. Updating your partner, because we're not the same people as the day that we got married. So updating them onto whoever the new you is at that particular time. And really just checking in and caring about the other person as much as you care about yourself. I don't think that for me, I was cared enough about that. I was like a product. I made sure that things go, and as long as things were going, then of course I was fine. But and I didn't feel like I had a true partner in my first relationship.
How does Goody show up for you that kind of heals or shows you differently in this marriage?
Like she said, with her being solution based, like if we have whatever issue we have, we're gonna take a look at it, we're gonna dissect it, break it down to the most minute thing, and figure out ways that we can get around whatever obstacles that we have. I had gotten to a point where I had my blinders on, and if I ran into the wall, I was just stuck running at the wall. But that came from years of being in a relationship with a person who just, well, you'll figure it out. Tell me what we're doing, and we'll do that. Or we'll just come out of left field with something super crazy that wasn't going to be helpful in any way. So she's just been able to help me take those blinders off and look around and make better adjustments to problems, is what I would say.
You have like true partnership with Goody in a way that you didn't have with your prior marriage as well.
Absolutely.
Goody?
I think for me, in my first marriage, I was a child. We dated from 8th grade. I was with that man for 12 years. We were married 9 months. I learned that I can't lose myself in my relationships, because that's exactly what I did. I learned to prioritize, like to communicate how I'm feeling and to trust my gut and not think that not nobody gaslight me or talk to me crazy or any of that. Tezama doesn't do those things, and so that was not a challenge. But trusting me and putting myself first. I'm very caring, and I'm thoughtful. Like I'm not gonna. If I'm hungry, I get food. I'll call them like, "Hey, are you hungry?" Or and if the kids are home, whoever's home, tell them to text me their order, or whatever. Or I'll just like get a Happy Meal and eat it in my car, so I don't have to share. But I'm not going to come in the house with food and just have food for me, kind of thing, right? And that's just the nature of who I am. And I think that he hasn't necessarily had that kind of partner before. And I don't hold to a gender role. Whatever our strengths are is what we do. And it works for us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
prior in my previous relationship, I did everything. Like everything. We went to child support court, and that man didn't know his social. They asked him his social. He looked at me, and I gave his social to the judge.
Wow.
So, like, not being that kind of like a people pleaser and lighting myself on fire to keep other people warm, I learned to stop doing that. And so, my name is Goody. My legal name is Goody. My birth name was something different. The previous name was married to my first husband. He got Goody. Goody is who I've built and who I'm proud of. And so he got the most complete version of me, the version of myself that I'm most proud of. I unlearned a lot of things, relearned a lot of things. And so I think that's what helps in this relationship is that I'm a grown up.
You show up as a grown up. So I think it also allows him to show up as an equal, full partner too, and not having to carry the whole load and not looking at either person as less than or whatever.
Yeah, like certain things we don't do. Like he don't cook and I don't do laundry. You know what I'm saying? With our daughter, I do hair, he doesn't. So he gives her a bath. I don't do bath time at all. She don't even want me to. Because when he do it, she got a playlist. She got all the toys in the tub. She got her mermaid tail on. She's swimming in the tub. She got tea party. No, when mommy give you a bath, it's get in, wash your body parts, get out. You know? So I was like, well, since you're not doing hair, I'm not doing bath time. So I think we have there's an energy of equity in this house. I don't expect the boys to just do one thing or the girls to just do one thing. Everybody knows how to use tools. Everybody knows how to cook. Everybody knows how to clean. You know what I'm saying? There's an equity in this house that I'm proud of. And I think that we model that.
Yeah.
She putting some some shelves together today.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not us.
Yeah, no, I am.
He's
the pretty face. I'm the handyman.
That's amazing.
Electronics.
Yeah, he's tech support.
I'm tech support. Electronics. Some go down with your computer, software stuff. Blah blah blah. I'm in cybersecurity for my regular job. So yeah, I got all of that. But the hammer and the nail, I don't know what you're talking about.
You play to your strengths. I love that.
Correct.
I think we're going to do a few kind of like rapid fire questions. Tezama, what would you say is your favorite thing about Goody?
Sense of humor.
Her sense of humor. Okay. I always mess up the rapid fire questions too.
And he said sense of humor and then my legs.
And the legs. I can only imagine with what you do, Goody, the games y'all have played with those legs.
He likes them with my clothes on.
Okay.
We get dressed to go somewhere. He'd be like, you ain't got nothing shorter than that.
Ooh, okay. That means at night. How do you think your children, or what does the world get to see because Goody and Tezama Howard are married? Goody.
I think they get to see joy and they get to see balance.
You can go deeper than joy and balance.
I mean, yeah, no, I just think people get to see happily married people. We are so many people's favorite couple. Like people like write essays nominating us for like marriage awards and shit. Like it's wild to me. And we don't post each other on social media every 5 minutes. We don't do all that shit because who you trying to convince? We don't have a joint Facebook page. We don't have you know what I'm saying? I think people get to see a genuinely happily married couple. No, it's not all sunshine and roses all the fucking time. Yes, sometimes I may say something a little sharper or I may, but the other day I just went to bed early because I called ahead and asked him to make some sides. And I was going to pick up some chicken. And so I was like, look, because I've been out all day and I had our daughter with us. And I was like, look, I'm not cooking. Can you make some mac and cheese and some green beans? And I'm going to pick up some chicken. And he was like, all right. 2 hours later, when I get home, ain't no sides made. And I lost my shit. And I was like, I'm going to bed because, you know what I'm saying? This is not going to go well. Yeah. I know that I'm going to say some shit that I'm not going to be like, I'm going to just go to bed. You know what I'm saying? So it's not all sunshines and roses all the time, but the way we resolve conflict, the way we I think there's a balance. So when I say balance, that's what I mean. Like people that are happily married have balance. They have, yes, you may bump heads about something, but you can have a conversation about it and resolve it and move forward.
No, you recover. Like there's like a break, but then you recover and you have confidence that you will always recover. So it gives you
correct, because I more than love him. Like I don't think that's why I don't think love is big enough.
Yeah.
People think that, I think love is like the smallest part of. You have to be able to like somebody, trust somebody, feel safe with them, see a future with them, be able to build with them, be able to communicate, be able to have a disagreement, not necessarily an argument, but a disagreement, and be able to resolve it.
Absolutely.
We address things, but not to the point of resolution. It's just addressed. So it's just out in the air. It's not resolved.
You have to get to the root cause. I just realized I missed something. So we're going to circle back a little bit and then come back to this. We'll cut it all together so it'll be seamless. You had talked about your past traumas and your history, Tezama. Kind of, do you want to, if you can share a little bit more about like what past traumas showed up? I think you alluded to it a little bit earlier.
In the relationship or just period? Like speaking of...
I think you were talking about individually that you brought into the relationship.
Oh, yeah. Well, for me, both my parents died early. I think I didn't have either of them by the time I was 26 or 27. And the reason I can't give you an exact time is because I kind of blanked out during that time frame. I was a zombie. I just went to work and came home. Really wasn't doing too much. This is when I still lived in Chicago. Also, got a lot of brothers and sisters. I'm my mother's only child.
He has 14 siblings.
Wow.
Don't a lot. 14. We just found out about another one last year.
So 15?
No, 14.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a lot of brothers and sisters. But my mother's only child, dealing with that dynamic of every couple of years meeting a new sibling. My father only married my mother until the last lady that he married before he passed away. People upset about holding resentment towards me because my last name was Howard and theirs wasn't. But I'm like, but you have to think about it. I should be the person that would be upset because my father was married and he cheated on my mom with your mom. So I should be mad. And if I'm not mad, you shouldn't be mad. And, just little things like that, little microaggressions throughout the relationship growing up, then not wanting to be like my father in the aspects of procreation, wanting to, be married with one woman, have a kid or two with one woman, and then live my life. And then that not happening still kind of, worked its way into confidence a little bit. And then you just kind of, I don't know. I hate saying man up, but just buckle down, know what you're here for, make sure that you can carry on with the things that you need to do, and then try to press forward. I think that was part of the traumas going up. And then once we got into a relationship, because she's a fake therapist, so
she has 3 master's degrees, I think, too.
She's still a fake therapist,
and one of them is in social work, which actually trains you to be a therapist. But okay,
she's a fake therapist. So her being a fake therapist and actually caring about me, and we got a chance to talk about those things, move through it, even if it's light, it still helped. And that just brought us closer together. But those are the traumas that I speak of, just little life stuff.
Those are not little life stuff.
It's not little.
I think that is so big. Yeah.
And he got a chance to. We had this conversation before because I say he was raised by Huxtables, even though his father, cheated on his mama. His father had, an addiction challenge. He overcame his addiction, got his life together. Had several jobs, owned several properties. That's how he paid for all his kids that he had. Like, we're not gonna say he was a deadbeat. Like, he was out here. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Like, he when he was like 15, 16, he went to go live with his dad on some, Boys in the Hood, Furious style shit, right? He had resolution with his parents. Like, his mom was sad that he went to go live with his dad. She felt she took it personal. They got a chance to resolve that before she passed. he had a chance to talk to his dad about, well, why you wasn't here, and they got a chance to resolve that. I was raised by two motherfuckers without a plan. I will never get resolution from my parents. One of them is no longer here, and so I can't get resolution. But I bring it up. I'm a communicator. Neither of my parents will ever admit that they did anything that was even remotely traumatic to me or my siblings. And so I'm never going to get that resolution. And so he was raised by adults that he trusted. I wasn't. And so that definitely influences the way we communicate and our parenting styles. I'm intentional about my parenting because I was raised by unintentional parents. And with him, like he said, he told the oldest, we got to get up in the morning because you got to take us to the airport. I said, did you tell her what time in the morning is? Because you assuming that her idea of in the morning and you're like early. He said, we got to get up early. I said, you assuming that y'all got the same idea of early, right? Tell her 5 o'clock because she going to think early is 8. You know what I'm saying? Because I was raised by adults I couldn't trust. I had to be clear about my communication so that there was no miscommunication. He was raised by parents he could trust so that their ideas were the same. They did have the same idea of early, right? And so his communication looks very different than mine. And so that is something that I think he has learned from, like, not learned from me, but like when I say stuff and I ask questions, I'm very succinct about what I need to know. And so it forces him to communicate more thoroughly because since he was raised by people he could trust, he didn't have to communicate as thoroughly. It's like that. I don't, I can't, my brain don't work like that. I got questions.
Yeah, no, there sounds like there's a lot of like, because you were so unsure, your environment was not certain.
Correct.
You have to, as a response, make certain about everything.
I need certainty
for yourself.
There's no motion.
And then it's so interesting that you're with someone who, like, they don't need certainty at all.
No, he's just like, okay.
But it works.
Said it? All right. Yeah, no, but he knows he doesn't communicate with everyone like that. Yeah. But me, I'd be like, listen, what?
No, because she is like, so tomorrow at 7 a.m., right before the sun comes up, you're going to step outside onto the porch, turn left, grab the knob, close it, lock the door, walk to the car, start the car for 4 minutes. When the seats are warm, let me know. I will be out in the passenger seat. We're going to drive 22.7 miles to the destination. When we get there,
that's what he hears.
He's exaggerating. Now it's close. He's exaggerating, but I remove excuses. You're not going to be able to say you didn't know. I'm so afraid that I'm going to be disappointed. I'm so sure that I'll be disappointed or misunderstood or let down.
I never saw that as a trauma response, but until you just broke it down right now.
I'm so certain that someone's going to disappoint me that I give them all the information they need to not do so. And if they still do, it's a choice. And that is the nature of my trauma response. And that's how it shows up. And I know that's what it is. And I don't care.
Well, you're safe now. You have a partner that can understand that. And I think that what you guys have modeled so beautifully is you have to understand your own trauma to be in relationship with someone else. If not, it becomes a power struggle over each person's thing.
Or at least your trauma response.
Yeah.
Like the trauma, not necessarily, but like I'm the oldest child.
Yeah.
My daddy has a daughter that's older than me, but we weren't raised together. So I'm the oldest. I had custody of my little brother, like, for a long time. So I'm that kid, the oldest has to be the the parent, the grown up. And so I've always been somebody's parent my whole fucking life. And so the way, even with the kids, the way we do chores and stuff, I taught them how I wanted the dishes washed. There's a step-by-step on how to wash the dishes, even when to change the water inside the cabinet. In case you forget, you still know how to read. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that I've removed all the excuses of why this shit ain't done. Yeah. So when I come in and it's not done and I start flipping shit over, just know I gave you all the chances. You had all the tools. They got the latest tools in dishwashing technology. They got the gloves with the scrubby things on the inside of the hands so they can just, they got everything. I bought you all the latest soaps and shit, everything.
Why is dishwashing so important?
Why it's not done? I got the little spin mop with the bucket that spin, and you got everything you need. You got the cutting edge technology.
So you won't be
dishwashing Hall of Fame here.
You know what I'm saying? Why the fuck is this? I'm telling you, like, and that's why little things will set me off, because I've prepared you for success.
Yeah.
And you chose not to be successful. So at that point, yes, I'm flipping everything in this motherfucker over.
I hear you. There's no excuse at that point in time. I definitely hear you.
That's what I'm saying. If I've removed all the excuses and prepared you for success, you've been trained, you have, like, there's no reason. They even have a schedule to where Monday through Wednesday, one child does the dishes, Thursday through Saturday, the other child does the dishes, and they alternate Sundays, and it's on the calendar, in my calendar, for the rest of the year. Alternate Sundays, that's when the deep clean happens. And these are not children. They are 20 and 27.
Wow.
So no, I'm flipping everything over.
No, I hear you. With the past traumas, for sure.
Correct.
And how
and that's it.
Up.
And I know that's why it is. I know that's why I am the way I am. Even the way I teach, I try to teach to everyone's, like, I teach, audio, visual, and kinesthetic, because I want to make sure I'm removing excuses for y'all too, that I'm removing all the barriers to getting the information.
Yeah.
I think it makes me a more thorough human being, a more thorough educator.
Yeah. No, we'll get to that. I'm just curious, do we ever get to a point of complete healing with our traumas, since you're a therapist? Like I said, I'm trained to do therapy. People call me a sex therapist, and I say, no, I'm not. I'm a sex educator. I'm trained to do therapy, but it's not, I'm an empath. I can't. Yeah. I don't have capacity for that. I don't know that we ever get a point. I think the point in healing is the point of understanding, and the point of this is why I am the way I am, or this is why I do what I do. And if it's something that I want to change, I understand the why of it, so I can change it. Or I'm comfortable with it the way it is, but this is why I'm this way. Like, I'm fine with removing excuses and being an over communicator. I'm fine. I think it makes me more thorough in everything I touch. Some all trauma responses are not negative. Yeah.
But I think understanding the why gets you to a point of you can decide if it's something you want to change or not. So when we talk about healing from trauma, understanding your trauma response and deciding if this is a negative trauma response or a positive trauma response. Does this trauma response benefit me at this point in my life? You know what I'm saying? And so that's when you the healing part of it comes in, of, do you want to change it?
You have the choice to change it or not change
it.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Totally, as far as moving past your traumas and how they show up. And they become a part of you. You cope how you
cope. They're a part of you. They're a part of your personality. It's like, they're your like, my glasses are a part of my face. They help me see, but they're a part of my face. I don't even like how I look without glasses on. So, like, it's just a part of who I am. Yeah. And the same thing with your trauma responses. They become a part of who you are. Now, are they holding you back, or are they preparing you for success, is the question.
And we always prepare.
I'm an overachiever, but as a trauma response. The only time I got attention from my parents was when I excelled in school. Yeah. And school was the easiest part of my life, because at home I had to cook, I had to clean, I had to take care of kids, I had to do all kind of stuff. At school, I just had to do school.
That's the only place you got to be a kid.
It's the only place I got to be a child. Yeah. It's the only time that my mother specifically showed up, because if there was an accolade involved, honey, she was there crying because she was so proud, right? So that was the easiest part of my life. School is the easiest thing I've ever done. And so I know I'm an overachiever, and he says that love language, that certifications and degrees are one of my love languages, and he's not wrong. But it's definitely, I know I can map out and tell you why I am the way I am. And a lot of it I'm grateful for. Yeah. I don't know who I would be if I didn't have those specific traumas. Yeah. And so I'm not allowing them to be a crutch. I'm allowing them to be a ladder. Yeah.
No, that's what makes you Goody Howard. So what are the best things that you think your relationship have created? What's the best thing you would say your relationship has created to date?
Rest. Like, I know that if I get sick, or if I just need a day, I need a mental health day, the house not gonna burn down, the kids gonna be fed. Like, I know he can handle it. You know what I'm saying? They may have chocolate cake for breakfast, but it was breakfast. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Always a little bit of hate.
No, because you listen, because you know you're good for that. But I know that he can handle it.
Yeah.
You know, he'll even like let me get a hotel room for the weekend by myself, so I can just sleep or work or whatever, and not have to worry about anything, or you know, like those kinds of things. If he sees me struggling or he sees me kind of sputtering, because the way my anxiety and depression and ADHD are set up, he'll see me kind of spiraling. He'll be like, okay, what do I need to do? What can I do? What do you need help with? What, you know, what responsibility can I take?
Yeah, he's in tune with who you are.
Yes.
Yeah. I can
he
see
can
it
tell
right
when I'm
here.
about to spiral before I can.
Aw. I can definitely see it right here. And then Tezama, just to end up, what are your best hopes for the future of your relationship? What do you hope for the future?
Just for us to continue to grow, stay close, have fun, laugh and joke with each other, and love. Even though she don't like saying love, and love one another.
Like and love one another.
Forever.
Okay. Forever.
Even when you go to the heaven.
Aww.
I'll be there.
At the heaven.
I'll be there. Like, nope, that's me.
Goody, how can we get in touch with you and Tezama if you want to share that? And is what you have coming up? What do you want us to show up for you for?
Oh wow, I have so much coming up. 2024 is going to be a big year. So I have a lubricant.
Wow.
With myself and a black cosmetic chemist. The formula is immaculate. The shit is outstanding. I'm so proud of the product. It's called Gloss. And the company is Gloss Intimates, because I didn't want to name it Goody something, because I wanted to live beyond me. So it's a water-based lubricant, and it's coming out. So the FDA last year decided that lubricant is a medical device now. So I have $15,000 more of testing that it has to undergo before I can bring it to market. So I'm going to start the pre-launch. I'm going to launch the pre-orders to help get that $15K to cover that testing, and I'm hoping to bring it to market by the summer of 24. I have a person that can help me get it in Target and Trader Joe's and places like that. It'll be the third black owned lubricant in the market. It'll be the second black woman created and owned lubricant in the market. And I'm super, super excited about that. I'm also going to launch Goody Gang Plus, which is a membership. And so people will get access to all my online workshops, library. They'll get a free online workshop every month. You know, they'll get 50% off one sex toy, one pleasure tool every month. They'll get 2 Q&As a month. One is like a whatever you want to ask Q&A, and the other one is like it'll be a guided. So like, oh, this is a oral sex Q&A, or this is a BDSM Q&A. And they get discounts on everything that other people don't get, and you know, live events and things like that. The Rideology Tour is happening again in 2024, but it will not be to the scale that it was last year. I did 20 cities last year.
Wow.
And I've passed that on a plane. I was doing too much. I passed that on a plane. So this year I want to do like maybe 10 cities. I'm trying to get some sponsorships, so I can do bigger venues, and hopefully that'll just continue to grow as well. And then the speaker side of what I do. So I do collegiate speaking and corporate training. And so I'm trying to flesh out and do more of that stuff in 2024.
Well, first of all, like the lubricant, I'm just so excited for you. I'm so proud of you. I just love us winning. So please let me know when you have all the information so
Absolutely.
we can see how we can make that a reality for you. I've taken your Rideology tour. I can vouch for it. It works. You'll be writing, and I'm sure Mr. Tezama can vouch. He's like, you're number one testimonial here.
Right. He don't count. People don't. I don't think people. I think people believe him because he's my husband. So like, well, you gotta say that. You know.
But definitely testimonial here definitely counts. And like all the plus too. Please let us know about that. The Goody Gang Plus, so that we can support that. You do amazing work. Your energy is just amazing, and you have a built-in comedian for.
You know what I'm saying?
He is the funny one.
Apparently.
So
apparently he's the funny one.
So yeah, no, we're I'm so excited to see what the next version of Goody and the next version of Goody and Tezama bring, because you guys have brought so many amazing things, and I'm not just saying that. I've definitely experienced that myself. Personally. Yeah.
Did you say lube with the CBD too?
Oh no, so there's a CBD version of the lube as well, and it's water based, which is important because CBD lubes are usually oil based, which means they're not condom or sex toy compatible. But this CBD lubricant is water based, and so we're gonna run the just plain water based first, and then launch the CBD version after that, and then there'll be a silicone version after that. Like, so that's why I'm calling it Gloss Intimates, because there'll be lots of different products designed to improve intimacy from that line. So if I get my sex toy line, if I get those things, all of that will be under Gloss Intimates.
Oh wow, that's isn't water based also better to avoid, because some people have a lot of sensitivity to lubricants that are oil based, so water based is supposed to be better?
I think oil based is the most water based is the most universal, and then silicone, because silicone is man made and it has the fewest ingredients. So if you're allergic to everything, silicone is a synthetic that I think will help people that are allergic. But as far as like universality, I think water-based is the best one. It does have to be like reapplied if you're a squirter, because you're basically rinsing off the lubricant. But this formula, it is long-lasting. It's not sticky. It doesn't smell or taste like anything. Like, it is amazing. Like, I was on the little infomercial that I did. I put it on the back of my hand and I'm rubbing it and I'm talking while I'm rubbing it, and I had to time elapse it because it took like 5 minutes for it to like finally completely dissolve into my skin. So I'm excited about it because the challenges that people have with water-based lube, like the stickiness and all of that, they don't have with this product.
Yeah, and I hate lube, and this works.
Yeah, he is not a fan. He is not a fan of lubricant at all. He was like, okay, I flex with it, So, and I've even had people, I took it to Sex Down South that was like giving out samples to all the like porn stars and sex educators and stuff. And one of my friends, she was like, I'm a silicone girl, honey. I do not do water-based lube. And she tried it out on her hand and she was like, oh my God, can I have some to take in the bathroom real quick? And I was like, no, ma'am.
She was ready to use. She was giving you a review.
People were asking for samples to like take to the room because it's the kind of place we were in.
Yeah. No, I hear you. But that's amazing, and you get to see right here him, Tezama, supporting Goody. Like, he's the one being like, "Have you talked about this? Have you talked about that? Have you talked about that?"
Yeah. See, because I'll be forgetting.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in to the No Ordinary Love podcast. I'm your host, Roslyn Ona, reminding you that extraordinary love is out there. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a 5-star review. Until next time, embrace your own unique love story.